Well, hello again. Welcome back to Fishing for Memories. I haven't been too well lately, so I haven't been out fishing, so what I thought I would do, the next best thing for me when I can't get out fishing is to think about my rigs, obviously read everyone's blogs about, of those fishermen that are going at the time, and enjoying a lot of the anglers on YouTube, their latest videos and their latest successes. Anyway, I wanted to just cover some points of the rigs that I use, or should I say the main rig that I use when after barbel, chub fishing and carping. It's a very basic, straightforward rig. I mainly use Drennan Super Specialist Sink Braid, usually in £15 variety. I sometimes go lighter than that. For more sharper areas and snaggy areas I do use the Gardener Sly Skin, and that is in £15. I usually use it in camo brown because the colouring underneath the actual sheath is this very similar colour to the Drennan Sink Braid, which is really nice. And I use this £15 Sly Skin for the more snaggier areas and areas where you know you could get cut off using a supple braid. Anyway, so this is the basic rig, standard knotless knot. What I normally do with that is sheath over a nice bit of a shrink tube and then shrink that down tight round the hook shank, creating a nice curve or kicker so it flips over the hook very reliably into the fish's bottom lip. I do use quite a long hair length, be that with 15mm bodies or 20mm baits. The reason for this is because I do prefer the actual freedom of movement that it provides. I feel the bait acts more naturally on the bottom. I find that I get more pickups using this. I find that if the fish are going through the free offerings that you put down, I feel more confident that the fish is going to pick this up, and feel with longer hair that it's moving more naturally. They wouldn't suspect it of being a hook bait. That's a size 8 Gardener talon tip. I do normally use 6s and 8s. I find that obviously scaling down in hook size, I do pick up more bites, especially on the more wary, intimate rivers. Anyway, as I said already, shrink tube goes straight onto the hook, gets shrunk down, and causes a nice kicker so the hook flips over reliably, just as you would with when you're carp fishing. Onto the actual other end of the hook link, near to where the swivel is, I use an anti-tangle tubing which I find pushes the hook link out from the weight, which causes a lot less tangles. I found this reduced the tangles immeasurably. I always use one of those when using a supple braid. I even do use it even with the coated. I just find it pushes it out and it finishes the actual rig off a lot neater. Anyway, I'm going to move on from that and show you the whole rig that I'm actually using with some mainline attached and the weight and setup. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back. I thought I'd show you, as I said in part 1, the rig that I generally use the most for my coarse fishing, my ledgering, when I'm after barbel, carp, chub, tench, etc. Right, now this is sink braid. This is £15 Drennan Specialist Sink Braid, which I tend to use the most. As I stated earlier, I do use Gardener Sly Skin when I do need a coated braid. As you can see, the rig is finished with the shrink tube. I don't always favour using too much shrink tube. I usually use a little bit less than this. As you can see, that creates a nice kick to the hook, flips it round nicely. Anyway, further up the rig, you'll see the anti-tangle tubing, which you can probably see there. I slide this right over the swivel, and then onto the main line I put on an Enterprise protector bead, which is just smoothly placed over the anti-tangle tubing and the swivel. It fits very snugly. Obviously protects the knots from any rough treatment when you're casting with the leisure weight. Now, for most of my fishing, obviously being on the rivers, I tend to use gripper leads. This is a 2-ounce gripper lead. Obviously you can buy a lot cheaper varieties than the Calder gripper leads. There's lots of people that are making their own now on places like eBay, and people like Potty's Leads on the C-Max angling forums. who do some really exceptionally good leads, and they're a lot cheaper than the Calder leads. Anyway, as I say, this is a 2-ounce lead, and what I've been using a lot, as you'll probably see here, is a very low resistance clip system. So that obviously it's a large bore ring, so there's a lot less resistance for when the fish is picking up the bait, and they've really been superb, and they aren't very expensive either. I use the 9 bream variety. As you can see, you get X amount of tubing which you slide over the clips, and you clip your leisure weight onto there. What's good with these is you can change your leisure weights really fast because it's just a clip system. So if I want to use a heavier leisure weight, or I want to change feeders, I can just push this tubing up and clip the weight off and clip on a feeder. I'll clip on a heavier weight, lighter weight. So that's a really nice addition, and what I like, because it's got a clip there, you can just push this tubing up and clip on a mesh bag with your free offerings on. Very quick to do, and cast it out and get your bait placed out nicely. Obviously, on top of that, and the main thing is the fact that it is very low resistance, as you can see. So, you know, you should imagine a wary chub, barbel, carp picking that up. Normal swivel, the fish is liable to feel a lot of resistance. This is very smooth, very wide bore. Fish is picking up the bait, and they're not feeling much resistance at all. Now, as you probably know from reading my fishing blog, I do prefer to use running rigs for most of my fishing, if I can do. And I just prefer the sensitivity that you get with a running leisure rig, and adding to this with a large bore low resistance ring, you get even more sensitivity. The fish feels a lot less feedback to your terminal tackle, and in situations when the fish are being extra wary, I do feel this results in a lot more fish put on the bank and bonus fish. Anyway, that's basically the whole rig. It's non-complex, very simple, but you know, I do favour simple rigs, and you know, a simple rig is a lot better than an over-complex rig, in my opinion. That's not to say, obviously, that there isn't some very good complex rigs. It's just I do favour a simple, effective rig. So as you can see there, obviously I do use tungsten, crystal heavy metal, or 9 bream tungsten. I use either of those just to help pin it down, a little blob every so often up the actual hook link, just to help keep the bait pinned down, especially if the current's quite steady. But that's it really. Longish, as I say, I use a longish hair rig. This is for a 15mm bait. Remember, when you're fishing bigger baits, the bigger the bait, the harder the fish does tend to eject the bait. So obviously you want a bigger hook, bigger bait, harder ejection from the fish, bigger hooks needed. Otherwise you'll find you'll be getting quite a few hook pulls and losing a lot more fish otherwise. I do, as I said already, like a long hair. I feel it encourages more natural movement of the bait, less suspiciousness from the actual fish when it's picking it up. I find they actually picking the bait up more confidently because it's acting more naturally. And that's it really. Anti-tangle sleeving on the swivel end, Enterprise protector bead, large bore, low resistance, 9 bream quick link run ring, and a lead of your choice. And that's basically it. I thought I'd share that with you. Might be of some interest.